Grand Rising, everybody. It's been kind of a weird day already, getting late to the start of things today. I posted one of the new concepts I'm working on for the Foundational Freedmen of America, which is black inventors, black leadership, black folks that have made technology, and I'm going to start doing more series on our black American heritage here in these last couple hundred years, people that made undebatable sophisticated pieces of technology and things of that nature. The first one will be about James Fortin. So more on that. I just wanted to give you guys somewhat of a sneak peek for that. And we got about 3 more story times. I covered the 4th of July pre-cap. So anybody that hasn't watched that, you might want to check that out. And my analysis on the 4th of July. What is the 4th to the slave? I definitely want to cover that because black folks had a major impact on the 4th and, in this country in general. But I just wanted to kind of, speak to that. I'm trying to think of any other topics that I'm going to cover soon. One thing I did kind of come to a decision. I reached out to one of my vendors, right, or one of the contractors, to the vendor that I work with, and I said, well, how long is this thing going to be going? I really wish I would have been had a digital journal back in the day, because I'm telling you, it would have been all kind of stories y'all would have heard and everything. But so I'm kind of doing it late. I'm doing it 20 years later, because we didn't have phones like this around that time to really be able to capture this stuff. It would have been like a tape or some little VHS camera, and ain't nobody carrying around nothing like that in regards to IT. So I was talking to the vendor, and they were telling me the duration of the assignment. And so something that happened to me, which was kind of weird early on, is I think I told y'all about when the agency, they wanted me to talk to them and have one-on-ones all the time. There's really nothing other to discuss other than I'm just deploying some machines at that time and then doing project coordination for like iMac and stuff like that. So I said, there's really no reason for us to be meeting and just talking. I don't want to waste time, and she doesn't want to do it during the day hours. So now what you're doing is you're inflicting on my after hour. So when I get off work, now I'm sitting in front of a screen again with you folks, and you're not paying me. So I told her, no, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna have to take it on a Friday. Well, Friday is a day that don't work for me. So eventually they got rid of her. They got rid of her and the other recruiter that they work with. So actually now I don't have to speak to nobody. So I was happy about that. But then maybe a month or so later, management changed. And so now you have more of a micro-managed system, because they don't want, my manager before was remote. So I think I was talking to you guys about that. How long do I got? About 3 or 4 more minutes. I'll wrap this up real quick and upload it. Anyway, so I came to a conclusion and a decision. I said, all right, as soon as something else comes, because I work on site, so that means I'm going to have to take time out of my day. That's another reason why what I wasn't really liking too much when they sold me on the hybrid thing. I was supposed to be hybrid. Now, whatever projects you guys got going on, that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm going with what people have told me and what we agreed to, what the contract was. So now that it's not hybrid, I manage and I modify around that. But now what I'm going to have to do is, if something comes up, I'm either going to have to just drive in just to save time, because I take express buses because I don't want to drive in all the way downtown. So I'll have to just drive in and park somewhere and just take the train or whatever the case it may be. So I've decided, that might be the bus right there. I'll continue. What I decided, y'all, is I'm just gonna go ahead and the first thing smoking out that's permanent, especially with a hybrid situation, yeah, I'm gonna roll with that. Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and roll with that, man. Anything smoking with a hybrid situation, I'm out. Oh, there go my bus right there. All right, I'm gonna upload this for y'all. I'm out. Just waiting on a call back real quick, so I can just get some things out the way. I was adding, I wanted to do a quick little broadcast of, I'll take these off for a second. That way I can hear a little bit better. But now, what I was saying earlier is on how you deal with contracting. Never stop looking. Always be looking. Don't let nobody tell you that you should just, always look for, a better opportunity, all of that, because you never know when these things are going to end. As I was saying before, initially I was told it was supposed to be a two-year thing, but then things change. Now, a lot of times places will say contract to hire or whatever, or what have you, or whatever. 6 months is long enough to know whether you want to keep the person around or whatnot. But and some of them do 3 months. That's a pretty good measure, but now it's getting 6 months to a year out. It doesn't take 2 years. But, a lot of companies, they have like a cool-off period if it's like a financial company. So, I said, well, if I could find something hybrid or remote, and see that'll save some money. There's not a lot of remote stuff going around, but then again, there might be some. You just got to kind of know what to look for. A lot of it is in cybersecurity too. I'm waiting on this phone call. I don't really do much of the cybersecurity stuff, but a lot of those are remote and software developers, sometimes Salesforce. So might have to tap into some more Salesforce stuff in the future. It all depends. AI is doing quite a number, but there's things out there. Don't believe that there's nothing. Now, yes, there is a lot of layoffs that's happening, and there's a lot more that's going to be coming up. But one thing I'll tell you about contract to hire. Whenever they say contract to hire, just don't believe them right off the top. The reason why you don't want to do that is because you'll get your hopes up thinking that something's going to come through. Most of the time when someone's contracting, they could replace you easily. They don't really need you too much anymore, because they'll find some other information out, or they'll find another person out that they could get cheaper. Just like this one API role I was working with, they just found some offshore people to do it for the dirt. But now, it all depends. It all depends. You just take it with a grain of salt. Keep on looking, especially if you're able to work remote. If you're able to work remote, man, go ahead and just, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Don't lose focus. Don't lose hope. Keep your goal intact, and write all that stuff down on what your expectations in within the next 6 months. The times are different now. Things are a little bit different, but you could still find a way in. You could definitely still find a way in. I'm trying to think of any more story times. I actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the tech training story time. I'll probably do that sometime this week. So I will be doing that in the podcast form. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. And until then, you my guys will check out the new story times coming up, and my digital journal. So y'all take care.